Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to RC Video Reviews for the Pilot Jam on Friday, June 2nd. We're already in June, man. 6 months of the year is gone. It feels like just yesterday we were talking about it being January. I'm telling you, man, life goes by. It does. Have fun out there. Hope you guys are having fun. Anyway, Freddie was in first, so back on top. Good job, Fred. Henry Vaughn hit the tip jar right out of the gate, so thank you, Henry. I appreciate it when you guys do that. Johan Opperman says, enjoy the Pilot Jam. I know it's late for him, so he'll catch up tomorrow probably. Jay is here. He says, Freddie beat me to it. He's Fast Freddy for a reason. He's trying to rehone his skills there, Jay. FD from Greece is here. How you doing, Photios? Good to see you, my friend. The David Knutz from Texas is celebrating an anniversary with his wife. Good job, David. Congratulations on another year surviving. Drone pilot Elias is here. Damn, what's the go here? I just got notification you're already here. You guys always come first. All right. Wowzy says hello from Massachusetts. Well, hello from Florida. Wolfie's here. How you doing, Dave? Good to see you. Dave got some bad news. His one of his maiden flight aircraft died over the weekend. It was died in my hands, but Dave maidened it. So, Mr. Skyrider, how you doing? Glad you could make it. Rambo Flight Ken, howdy y'all from AZ. Man, I love Arizona. I flew so much in Arizona. I love it there. North 49 RC is here. Chris, how's it going? Gordon Goff, hello from beautiful Washington. Hello. FL Engineers in the house. Tim, how's it going? He tells Freddie he should be practicing. Man, Freddie's been practicing a lot. I think maybe we'll get on the simulator tonight because we're going to go flying tomorrow, and let's see how he's doing. But Freddie's been practicing a lot, and it shows. T. Evans, good evening from Utah, the beautiful state of Utah. Welcome, T. Evans. Jeff is here from Alberta, Canada. The Canadians in the house representing. Hobie's here from Florida. How's it going, Shane? William Tam says hello. Jeff H. Good day from Australia. Good to see you. Spin Launch Glide. The intro outro music always reminds me of Untitled Goose Game. Okay, I don't know what that is. I hear Chef John. So whoever Chef John is, I don't know. William Tam, how's it going? Anyone here getting SAB Heli with up to 30% off sale? I know, man. It was so hard to keep my wallet in my pocket for that sale. It was just the raw 700 was on sale for like 80 or something, man. It was just, I didn't do it though. Philip Jang, hi, how you doing? Another Aussie in the house. Z Barrick walks in and says, gentlemen, I don't know what that's about, Bill. You don't need to be rude. Stan Heaton says hello from Arkansas. How you doing, Stan? William Tam, Fast Eddie, hello. Four Eyes from Ohio. Lonnie Misner, how you doing, Lonnie? Good to see you again. Micah Korhonen, hi, 2:30 a.m. in Finland. All right, welcome from Finland. And then EQRC says, hello, pilots from South Carolina. We were just in South Carolina. Awesome state. Great event up there at Joe Nall, man. We had such a good time with that. Robert's here representing Canada as well. Hopefully he's got that maple syrup down and he's going to relax tonight. And groundwork's done, John. Nice. Robert's doing some improvements. So good job, Robert. Best of luck with your expansion, man. I know you're going to do great. You'll crush it. All right, that was the intros. If you sign into the video, make sure you say hello. And before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my new patrons. Thank you. Pterodactyl's back. Kevin B is joined, and I'll say goodbye to some old ones who left. So I appreciate you guys hopping on Patreon and helping out when you can. That's awesome. I appreciate every one of you, and thanks for helping me bring you content. So it is helpful 100%. And as I've said so many times in the past, I continue to pour the revenue from the channel into the channel. And I'm always looking for new ways to get things done and make things happen and experiment and learn and then share my findings with video evidence for you guys. So if you're willing to help out, patreon.com/RC Video Reviews. I got a tier for $3 a month if you want to help. Hey, by the way, this should be in 4K. I know it seems to be streaming in 4K just fine. Hopefully you can turn it on during the live stream. So if you have 4K, turn it on. 4K should work. Anyway, that's that. And again, warm welcome to the new patrons. Appreciate you guys signing up. Okay, let's see. Week in review. Kind of a short week on the video front, but I'm going to bring up the video, the crash, the poor laser, man. I have to make sure that we have to talk about where's the damn thing for the video here? Hold on a second. Sidebar video. There it is. Got to click on the clicking things and get the clickers right. There it is. The poor laser, man. I want to clarify. This is the yellow 48-inch Skywing laser that went in. I also several weeks ago put the 67-inch laser and that was not recoverable either. This one was much less painful. It was intended to be a basher all along. So that poor little guy went in. Here it goes. It goes in. And Freddie was on the camera. He saw me screwing around. Kabang. Freddie saw me messing around, and he's like, yeah, I got to get the camera out. So he was watching for it. He was on the lookout for it. But yeah, just to separate the two, the red one is in the hangar. It didn't fly that day. And the yellow one is in the recycle bin. I took the electronics off and put them in the next plane, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But anyway, yeah, the laser's a goner. That was just a short video. I figured I'd show you guys that one because it's such a lovely little airplane. I'm disappointed that Extreme Flight doesn't have them up for sale yet. I'm praying that they get them back because the second they do, I will absolutely get another one of those. I love that plane. It is a great learning tool, and it flies well when you're not driving it into the ground at 80 miles an hour or 40 miles, whatever. So good plane, though. I really enjoyed it. And then anyway, let's see. That was it for that one. Let me, the next video, I'm waiting for the ticker to go by because I didn't put my list up in front of me. I bet I can beat it. Live stream banners, latest video banners. There we go. Oh, the RC newbies looking for your first plane. So speaking of newbies, that's the video that's up right now. And on that one, we took the FMS Ranger out and I did the maiden because, you know, that was a sponsored video. So I got to do the flight and show people what's going on. And then after that, we put Freddie on it. And I had a nice little buddy box setup going with the TX16S and a WT01 dongle. And Freddie bound to me, and then the TX16S used AFH DS2A to the aircraft, the model, and we were able to fly. I had a great time. And I'll tell you that wireless buddy box system is pretty darn good. If you haven't tried that out yet, a real easy way, obviously, is the WT01. But if you have Express LRS on the back of your radio and you use Express LRS to connect, the NPM internally can act as a receiver to standard protocols like DSM or D16, and it works great. FlySky too. FlySky does it as well. So a couple of different receiver-oriented protocols you can use. So you don't even need to buy a dongle. You can just pair from one radio to yours, and you can use whatever radio you want as long as it supports that AFH DS2A, which is the FlySky, D16, or DSM. So any of those three will work in receiver mode on the NPM. And it was a great little solution. We used the dongle, of course, because we were using the internal module to communicate with the plane. But I'll tell you something, that little plane over there, as far as trainers go, it was just beautiful. You know, it was like, I think it was like 2 screws, 4 screws. It was something ridiculous. Like you screwed the wings together and then put them on the plane with the 2 thumb screws, and then the rudder on the bottom, 2 screws, and that was it. Just the 2 wires for the ailerons. The rest of it was set up and ready to go, as a ready to fly. And of course, you know, if you use your own receiver, you know how to do that. So the setup on it was just brilliant, quick and easy. And while I did have problems with the FMS Flash during the maiden where the gyro oscillated, I didn't have any such problems with this plane. And I would also say that the profiles they install work out of the box. So all you have to do is your basic radio setup and it works with the gyro right away. So no, you know, there's some upside and downside to the gyro configuration bit, right? The upside is you don't have to do anything. The downside is you can't do anything. So if you want to make changes like gain or whatever, you can't do that. But I would say on the little Ranger, the gyro performed very, very well. I mean, it did a great job, and it got me thinking about something we're going to talk about in a little bit. So hang tight for that. I've got some stuff on the radio to show you. And also don't forget, we have a giveaway tonight. We're doing the giveaway. I've got the FMS Flash. That's going to go out to a lucky winner tonight. So make sure you stick around for that. Lots of stuff happening tonight. Anyway, the Ranger is a nice little airplane, and 4i says plenty of power, and I would agree. That was, if you remember the Pilot Jam last week, I mentioned my concern. Like I was, again, the trainer doesn't need to be a rocket ship. It doesn't need to be crazy fast, but you want it to have enough power where the student can actually enjoy flying it and not, you know, you want the student to be able to get out of trouble and to be able to do some maneuvers without fighting the plane. And I think that motor is exactly what you need. It was a good mix of power and efficiency because we were getting 6 minutes on a little 1300 battery. And Freddie figured out that he can fit a 2200 in there and it balanced. So we're going to try flying the 2200 tomorrow. We'll try and give you guys some feedback on that, but it is just a decent little plane. You know, it's not a athletic 3D, you know, barnstormer, hair on fire kind of model. But if you just want to go out and cruise and enjoy some flying and keep it easy going, it's a nice little plane. I like it. I 2 thumbs up, you know, and it's not sponsored. I mean, it was, but it's not anymore. So I'm just telling you guys, it's, you know, 2 thumbs up. I like it. On that note, I do want to say something about sponsored videos because I watch YouTube and I hear the comments and I see, I see what people say. When I agree, I just want you guys to know, when I agree to do a video, I only agree to do a video. That's the only agreement I make. I don't agree to giving them my content, giving them first right of refusal for my content, editing my content, nothing. So my point of view is my own. And here's the thing that I would get across. I would just say as a, YouTuber who does reviews, that I would want you, the audience, to understand is that I care about you. You're my concern, right? Because if I lose your trust because I'm just a shill, then what are you here for? You know what I mean? So I'm always going to try and give my best point of view. Now, that said, I do try and be diplomatic, right? When you have a sponsor, you want to try and be somewhat diplomatic. Like you don't want to kick them in the nuggets. You know what that's not the objective. If there's a problem, you should say this doesn't work for me and identify the problem. But that's all you really need to do. And hopefully the manufacturers, if they have a reviewer they like, they'll respond to that and say, okay, John gave us some feedback. Here's what we should be thinking about. And that's the best hope I can have, right? But I want to make sure that you guys understand that I don't make agreements on my content. My content is my own. My opinions are my own. And if a sponsor drops me, and I have lost sponsors. It's happened. If they drop me because they don't like my point of view, that's okay. I'm okay with that because I'm here for you guys, right? You're my main concern. So I just wanted to make sure you guys understood that and the reason I'm bringing that up is because FMS seems to have, even though I gave them some feedback on the gyro and said, well, the Flash is more of an intermediate plane, definitely not for beginners. And I showed a little bit of weakness in the plane where I talked about the torque roll and the pitch, the climbing up. I said, this plane needs to be tweaked. Even though I went through all that, I think it was an honest assessment. They believe it was an honest assessment. And as a result, they sent me the Ranger and they sent me 2 more planes too. So, apparently we're developing a good working relationship with FMS, which is good for me. And vicariously through me, it's good for you because I try and share the wealth, as you guys know. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to get that out because we're starting to see some FMS material come in. And so far it's been a very pleasant working relationship with them. Very good. So that's it. And then the last video of the week was the EdgeTX labels hack. And, the hack, when I say hack, it's meant to be one of those things where you're using it in a way it wasn't really intended to be used. That's what I meant by hack. But whatever, I still get corrected. That's fine. It's okay. But that was a pretty cool trick. And the reason I came up with that was I was out flying with Dave and I think I had 3 or 4, maybe 5 planes that day. And I kept navigating around on the radio and I'm like, I love labels. It's a good system, but I need something a little better for my, for my use case. If I bring a lot of planes to the field, and that little labels thing worked great. So if you haven't watched that video, I would strongly encourage you to do that. Watch the labels hack video. Really cool little method for, let's just call it a good sound operational practice for utilizing labels effectively at the field. We'll call it that since I can't use the word hack according to certain people. Anyway, let me check the comments and we're going to get into some stuff. Let's see. Wait till you see what I got on my sleeve. Oh yeah, Freddie's going to be surprising a lot of you. And he's got some stuff. I'm not going to spoil it. He's going to surprise you. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. SG Pete is from Arizona and Tulsa on a road trip. Congratulations. Enjoy your road trip. Be safe out there. Smash that like button. Yeah, if you guys could smash the like, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it if you do that. Drone pilots checking in with everybody. Let's see. Gimme. Even Hobie. Easy to follow. This is why we love your channel, says Hobie. Easy to follow and honest. I try. You guys, I just want you to know you're my main concern, right? Whatever your views are on review videos or sponsored videos, that's just how the world works, man. They provide stuff, we do reviews, but my job is to try and be honest, to give an honest assessment, and I do my best to do that. So where is Buffalo? Buffalo, New York, maybe, probably. Drone Pilot says, that's the thing, to be honest, otherwise it's just a commercial. Yeah, that's right. Try and just give a fair assessment, a fair assessment, I think. Honest and fair. Yeah, that's the goal. Which sponsors have dropped you? I won't get into that. Spin Launch Glide. It's just companies, and maybe because we just got to the end of our time, that's happened as well. So maybe I got through the end of their portfolio, and but yeah, it's not like an official thing. It's not like they write you and go, okay, you're gone. It's not the way it works. They just stop communicating with you. That's how it works. They kind of ghost you. Anyway, let's see. Yes, I'm talking last night. I use a different radio, but I trust your opinion on your channel. Well, I appreciate that, EQRC. Thank you. Appreciate it. Michael Blade FPV. Hey there. Well, welcome, Michael. Oh, let's see what else. Invention is the mother of all necessity. That was a great video about labels. Yeah, I loved it, man. That was a cool video. I'll use it too. I still have it on my radio and I'll use that all the time. Michael says, shout out from Newport, Rhode Island, another Northeasterner. How about that? And sponsors from his hand model days. My hand model. You know, Robert, just the other day, you could probably see it if the thing will focus. My hands making the last plane I made were covered. There it is. You see that black stuff? My hands were covered. They just look terrible. I was going to take a picture and put it on Discord to say, there, no more hand model jokes. This is the real deal. But it's all right. No more hand model sponsors. That's right. I lost that business. That's out the door. Okay, that's it for the chit chat and the week in review. Let's get into some stuff, man. I got some stuff to cover for you. So, okay, first up is the crash. I talked briefly about the crash, and I'll bring the video back up again. A couple of people were asking questions. I just wanted to clarify on the crash. This was not a loss of radio, and it wasn't an equipment malfunction. Those two types of crashes, to me, are devastating because I don't like the idea of flying with the radio that I can't trust, which, by the way, has a lot to do with why I fly this one, and has an awful... I had to grab it because I had it out of the radio for testing. It has an awful lot to do why I fly with these modules, these Express LRS modules, because during my RC days on Discord, I've done some posting showing some graph data from the receivers that I'm using, which are Express LRS, and I'm showing really good results. The RQLY is good, the T-power is low, the RSSI is strong, and when it's not, the T-power bumps itself up dynamically. And at the end of the day, the point of the matter is that the radio technology has to work. So if I have a failure due to a radio technology or an equipment failure on the plane, I really don't like those because that's outside my control. You know, if the radio fails, I can't control that. So I hate those kinds of crashes. But on a crash like the laser where I lost control, and that's all that was, that's me horsing around. Like if I pause that, you guys can see that's pretty low. And I'm flying it pretty close. That's been one of my objectives, is to get that knife edge down on the deck right in front of us. So, you know, and that's what I was doing, you know, and there's me bailing out of the knife edge and coming around for another one and setting up to do it again. And as I push myself and try and develop my skills and push myself to get lower on the deck, you know, get low instead of, you know, up a mistake high, that's the kind of thing that you live with. So to that end, I thought I would show you guys its replacement, and this is the replacement because they don't sell the laser. At least it's not listed on the site at this point. So I went out and got a Twisted Hobby profile edge, and that will get the job of getting beat to death by me practicing things I should not be doing with balsa planes. So the Twisted Hobby plane, that'll take the role of the laser until I can get another laser. And even then I might still fly this because I think this one can take a punch better than the laser. The laser was actually fairly resilient, but you know, when you pile drive it in, that one's a goner because there is balsa involved. This one's an EPP plane with some, you know, reinforcement strips all over the place. So hopefully it'll be able to take a little bit more of a punch, and I'll keep practicing. So a cool little plane. That is a Twisted Hobbies Edge 540 XL. So I think that was a 42-inch wingspan. Uses a 2814 800 kV on 4S with a 40 amp ESC, and I put 12 gram Emax servos in it, and an 11.5 or 11.7 prop. So it should be fine. We're going to fly it tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get that one out. Maybe I'll get Freddie to take some film for me and film it, but we're going to work on it. You know, this is going to be the new basher. Got to have a basher. Let's see. I love it. Back to basics. That's right, man. Back to basics. Christian Grun says, ooh, the Twisted Hobby Edge will be good for practicing. Yeah, I hope so, man. I need it because I feel like I'm starting to get to that point where I can do some stuff, right? And I'm trying to stitch it together. So, you know, I've got the knife edge down. I'm working on the belly up knife edge. I'm working on, you know, flying knife edges in a box, knife edge loops. I'm working on my flat spins, my knife edge spins, and I even got crankshafts down. I took my Laser V2 60-inch out during the week. I took a early day at the field. I got a couple flights in, and man, I got that Laser V2 to wad up and flip over on the crankshaft really tight. It looked great. So, you know, I'm starting to kind of pick up enough things where I can stitch together an actual video and maybe start putting these 3D planes through their paces a little bit more. I'm still, you know, a long way to go before I would consider myself highly proficient, but, you know, I'm working on it. So, and I'm having fun. And that, at the end of the day, that's what counts, right? Get out that hot glue gun. Yeah, I know. Welders and foam tack too, man. Welders glue, foam tack glue, and even that contact cement that they give you in some ready to fly or plug and play type planes. That works as well. But anyway, Tower Hobby Edge, that one's up next. And I expect we'll have a lot of fun with it. I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be fun. So that's it on the crash. I just wanted to clarify that was the little edge or the little laser, not the big laser. That was the 48 inch, not the 67. The 67's in the hangar where it belongs. Everything's in one piece as of today. So let's see. Drone Pilot says, agree. Equipment failure is devastating, but pilot error is simple. Yeah, pilot error you can learn from, right? You can say, oh, that was my bad and I made a mistake. And, you know, I don't, you know, I mean, if it crashes, you kind of laugh and say, okay, because you can't, what else are you going to do? You know, but I don't think it's funny to destroy things that have value. So I don't try and do that. But, you know, if you don't laugh about it, okay, it was a good crash. It died honorably. So we'll move on and work on the next plane. But yeah, that laser, great little plane. If they get them back, man, I highly recommend you guys check into those planes. They're fairly cheap and they fly really well. Very, very well. All right. Jay says, hey, all. Okay, good. That's it. I think we can move on to the next topic. And the next topic is the trainer. Okay. So the trainer, I kind of already talked about it a little bit. The trainer, by the way, belongs to Fred. So Fred's got the trainer and we're going to practice. We're going to keep getting him up and down. We'll keep using the buddy box. And I already kind of said most of what I had to say on the trainer. So I got a little ahead of myself a little bit, but I would say FMS, they did a good job with this one. And yeah, I don't see any point in embellishing on it. It's a fine little airplane. And you know, one thing I'll say about it, I know when I got to the field with Fred said he watched a bunch of YouTube videos and nobody could land it or people were having problems landing it. And Fred can, you know, vouch for what my answer to him was. My answer was land better. And that may sound like kind of a gruff thing to say, but I mean, honestly, it's the truth. The plane, and we proved with Fred, with a little bit of instruction, how easy it was to land the plane. I mean, Freddie was landing the plane. Now, I'm not going to say they were all perfect. They weren't all perfect. I made some mistakes. One thing I did is I turned too fast and I got it to tip over. And that sprung nose gear. You know, if you turn too fast with a sprung nose gear, it will tip over. But that's not a fault of the plane. That's a fault of the pilot. That's why I didn't bother putting it in the video. So that at the end of the day, Freddie was able to land it with no problem and didn't go bouncing down the runway. It was just fine. It's a beautiful little plane. So what I would say on the Ranger, you know, if you need a trainer, something comfortable to fly, easy going on a Sunday afternoon, get one. They're pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, FMS gave me, I'll put them in Discord in the hot deals section, but FMS gave me a 10% code and a $10 off code. And I'll have to review her rules. I'll put the rules in Discord, but one of them can be used over and over and over, and the other one can be used once. I think it's a 10% is once, and then the $10 can be used repeatedly. So it's $10 on orders over 100 or something, which still works out to 10%. So, I mean, whatever, you know, math, right? So anyway, I'll put those in Discord for you. If you guys are in the market for any FMS stuff, check that out and use those coupon codes. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me check comments and then let's see. Caniget channel. Caniget. I can't say that. Caniget channel. Can I get a channel? Can I get a channel? Is that can I get a channel? Okay. It takes me a minute, but I got it. Christian Grun. Which Emax servos did you get by chance? I got the ESM08 MA2s. They're 12-gram digital Metal Gear. Those are the ones. I like those. They run for a set of 4. They're about $35 to $40 on Amazon. Decent little servos for the money. I've used them plenty. Oh, wait, you know what? The Emax servos were, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Emax servos are for the Bix too. The Twisted Hobby actually got the KSTs out of the laser. I apologize for that. That's my fault. I took the KST servos out of the laser. Those are the 2308s. And I put those in the Twisted Hobby. The Emax servos actually went in a Bix 2 build that I'll talk about in just a minute. So, but that's where I use the Emax ESM08 MA2s or whatever they are. Let's see. Just have to watch that spring. Yes, you do have to watch that nose gear spring. Hey, Fred, I heard somebody left a comment. You can pour epoxy down that spring to straighten it up, which is a good idea if you want to. You could fill it up with epoxy. So can I get a channel? I got it. Yeah, that's cool. KST is a much better choice for that plane. Yeah, KSTs will do, and they were doing great in the laser. So yeah, they'll be fine. Okay, let's see the trainer. That's it on the trainer. Let's move on. I've got more stuff. Vario Rescue. This is the one I've been anxious to show you. And I got to tell you guys right up front, I'm really sorry. This is not an original idea. It's not my original idea. I came up with this. I was reading. It was either Discord or it was something in comments. And I saw it some time ago and I thought, okay, novel idea, but I didn't do anything about it. And then when Fred and I started talking about training Fred on fixed wing, I thought, you know, that would be a really cool thing. So I have, and I referred back to that comment. It was either in comment in Discord or on the YouTube channel. And again, I wish if I could give credit, I would. I'm sorry. I don't know who said it. But the idea was you could use the Vario as a indicator on a safety or a hard deck. So you can have the Vario. You can use logic on the radio that when the Vario indicates a certain altitude, you can trigger a reaction on the radio. And I thought with Fred, that would be great. If we had a gyro in the radio and the gyro does auto level mode that is working, right, that we test it, we know it works, and we do auto level and we have a Vario, we could say, hey, when the Vario reaches a certain altitude, go ahead and set the gyro to auto level, which means whatever the airplane is doing, it'll flatten out. And then I thought, let's go ahead and add a little elevator so we can climb a little bit. And then we'll add a little bit of power to keep it from stalling. So I already wrote the logic and the logic's done. So the logic is working 100%. And I'm going to give you guys a look at that. And then I still have to put it in the radio. And the big caveat that I have to give, and this is something I talked a little bit about with Rob on Discord, is that this whole premise relies on the concept that the Vario is accurate. So, and what I mean by that is if I'm out flying and the plane, I look at the plane at a certain altitude, I'm gonna set that altitude as my altitude on the radio, right? I'll say, okay, wherever that is, that's where I want it to be. So I'll look down at the screen and I'll say, okay, the Vario says I'm at whatever it is. Let's just say the Vario says I'm at 864 feet, okay? We know it's not, but let's just say that's what it reports. Now the real thing is if it says 864 feet, from that point on, if I use 864 feet in my logic and every single time it gets to that altitude, whatever the actual altitude is, the Vario reports that it's 864 feet, the logic will work. So the idea here is the Vario reports an altitude. I have a pre-configured altitude in the radio that says when you hit this hard deck, whatever my hard deck is, let's just say it's 864 feet. I hit that hard deck. I want the Vario to trigger a logical function that will override the stabilizer and set it to auto level mode. So the plane levels out, and then I'm going to add up elevator and power and climb. And then after a certain period, we'll let go and we'll return control back to the pilot. And of course, all of that is connected to a switch. So I have mine set up on SE. So if SE is away, that safety net is active. If SE is down, it's not active. None of it matters. Doesn't do anything. So I thought I'd walk you through the logic on it real quick and give you a look at it. And this is my intention is to finish this Bixler that I'm working on. I got a Bix 2. My intention is to finish the Bix 2. And I've got a Maytech Vario ELRS receiver. I'm going to put that in the plane. And I've got the logic right here. And I'll show you a little bit about the logic just to show you how I'm thinking about it. Okay, so I'll press model first. And let me zoom in. You guys care about the screen more than my buttons at this point. So there we go. So let's see. Hopefully you guys can see the screen okay there. I get this like cross hatching now. I don't know what's called. I don't know why it's doing that. It's really kind of annoying though. Okay, are we going to focus now? Come on, focus, focus. Come on, camera, work with me just a little bit tonight. We're focusing. There we go. That looks focused enough, right? Can you guys see that okay? Okay, so here we go with the logic. I'm going to click on the global variable, and first thing I'll point out, All right, you know what? You guys can go ahead and break my chops about not having my pointer. First thing I'm going to point out is for testing on the bench, I'm using a global variable in lieu of a telemetry sensor, okay? So I'm using global variable 1. That we're going to pretend that's my telemetry sensor. And the reason we're going to pretend that it's my telemetry sensor is because I put a switch on there to increment up to 250 feet. And I also can decrement at 25 feet down to whatever, 50 feet or maybe even 0. I think it's 0. Okay, so there's my GV1. I'm using that to simulate my altimeter or my Vario. Okay, that's all I'm doing. And I can stop this at any altitude I want. So if I want to go up to 150, I click a switch, it goes up to 150. If I want to come down to 125, click a switch, down to 100, click a switch, down to 75, right? So we're just simulating a Vario sensor with this so I can practice on the bench to make sure it all works, okay? Okay. Next up, I'm going to show you the logical switches. And what we're doing on the logical switches is right here. And what the logical switches say is L14 says when A is less than X, GV1, pretend we replace that with the Vario altimeter for flying. When we're actually flying, it's no longer GV1. This will be the altimeter Vario, right? Whatever the sensor is. That'll be what I'll replace GV1 with. Okay, so when A is less than X, the altimeter shows less than 100 and SE is up. That's the switch that activates and deactivates all this stuff. If that SE switch is not in the up position, oh boy, this camera. Come on, you can do it. It's not, I have it too zoomed in, I reckon. Okay, so when the SE switch is in the away position, this will be active, okay? So it has to be GV1 less than 100 and SE has to be in the away position, okay? That's the condition that allows L14 to go active. The next condition, L15, is when A is greater than X. In other words, our altimeter is greater than 100 and SE is up, okay? So when that's a situation, L15 goes active, and then I use the sticky switch, L14 to turn on, L15 to turn off. So what I'm gonna do is we'll look at the global variable right now, and you can see the global variable's at 75, all right? So we'll go back to the logical switch, and all I'm gonna do is bring the altimeter, my fake altimeter, which is my GV1, I'm gonna bring that above 100. So here, this is 100, and so we can see that A is no longer less than 100. It's equal to 100. That's why neither one of these are lit. Okay, so we're at 100 feet. But the sticky hasn't moved because L15 wasn't turned on yet. Now I'm going to activate L15 by increasing my altitude 25 more feet. So here we go, 25 feet. Now L15 goes active, right? Because now the altimeter, it'll read 125. So there's 125 on the altimeter. And we're back here on the logic and L15 went active, and that's what caused L16 to go off. If I bring my altitude down 25 feet, so I'm just going to come down 25 feet, you can see, whoops, I mistoggled there, my fault, there. Now it's back at 100, so it didn't activate the sticky because L14 didn't go on, right? We're at 100 feet right now, which means neither one of these are true, okay? So now when I go below 100 feet, L14 goes on, and you can see L16 goes on, and it stays on until L15 becomes true, okay? That's the nature of a sticky, okay? All right, so there you go. That's the logic that causes the trigger events to happen on the altimeter. Now, here's what happens on the special functions. In the special functions, when L14 goes on, right, well, here's L6. This is where I adjust my GV, right? That's the tool that I use to adjust my altimeter by 25 feet. Okay, so now when L6 goes on, we're going to play a value of the altimeter. So we're going to call out the altitude. And then, oh, sorry. This is the logic for adjusting the GV. I apologize, guys. So here, I'll turn the volume up, and I'm going to move the switch. I'll let you hear it.
100 too low, stabilizer on 125, 250.
Okay, so while I'm testing, what I have going on is I'm playing the track to tell me what the altitude is. That's what this logic is for. Let's scroll down to the where the magic happens. Here it is, L16. That's the one. So remember, L16 is the one where that's the sticky switch. So there's L16, okay? And under L16, when L16 goes active, right here, the first thing we're going to do is override channel 6. That is the stabilizer. And we're going to set it at a value of 100, which is auto level mode. We're also going to play a track that says too low every 3 seconds. And that's a warning. Hey, radio says you're too low every 3 seconds. And then it also plays a warning every 8 seconds that the stabilizer is on, that the auto level mode is on. Okay, now what I'll do, now that you understand everything, those are the special functions that control the audio prompts and the stabilizer. And then the last thing that we do is I put a mix in on channel 2, which is my elevator, that's a rescue. So the rescue says when L16 is active, that's the switch. So when that sticky goes active, on the elevator, we have an offset of -15. So here, when I pull down on my elevator, you see which way the outputs go? They go negative, okay? So I'm going down on my elevator right now. I'm pulling down. And when I pull back on my elevator, I get negative output. So now, if I bring my altitude down, watch, I'm not going to touch it. Watch what happens in the mixer. I'm going to go down. That's 200. Let me bring it. 150. There we go. There's too low. There's too low, and you can see what happened. The elevator went to a -15. That's my offset, -15. So remember what I said. When I pull back on the elevator like this, we go negative. So there, when it goes into rescue mode, the elevator does a slight pitch up, and you can adjust how much pitch you want with this number right here, okay? So if I put this back, if I bring this altitude back up, notice how it went back to 0. My hands, I'm not touching it, right? It went back to 0. If I come down, there it goes. There's the elevator. Okay, so that's the elevator part. And then the same thing with the throttle. I'll bring up the throttle and let you see that one. On the throttle, we're doing basically the same thing. I've got an offset of 60. And the idea there is if I'm flying around, I'm about mid-throttle, I'm going to arm my plane. So here we go. We're flying. Yeah, my radio's talking. Okay, so we're flying around. I've got control of my throttle. Everything's good. We're all happy. I'm flying. Everything's cool. My throttle's at mid-stick right now. So notice that the output is 0. We're at mid-stick, okay? Now, if for whatever reason, let's say that, you know, I hit the power and I push down the wrong way and I have to go into rescue mode, here's what'll happen. Watch the throttle.
100, too low.
See how it kicked up to 100? It added an offset and moved the throttle all the way up. It moved it up quite a bit. So again, that's sorry, I have the volume overridden. I have the volume overriding, so whenever that happens, I can't turn the volume down, which makes it really distracting for me to hear you guys, or to hear myself talk. So anyway, there's the throttle reaction, okay? So that's what happens. We get elevator up, and we get a little bit of throttle, so that's the climb out when we have a problem. Now, let's put it all together. So I'm going to click on the channel monitor, and here we go with the channel monitor. What I want to show you guys that the mode switch is channel 6, so that's the mode. 100 is auto level. Middle is what I call uncommanded movement. And then -100 is off. And then the throttle, I have it locked right now, but there's the throttle, okay? So watch what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the throttle in the middle position. I'm going to turn my stabilizer off, and I'm going to arm the plane. And now what I'm going to do is bring my GV sensor down below the level, okay? So here we go. Power, the altitude is coming down.
125.
All right, here's 125. Here comes 100.
100.
All right, there's 100. The next one down, the next stage down from the Vario, that's when everything should happen, okay? So here comes the movement down.
75.
Okay, there it is. So you can see what happened is the output on the stabilizer went all the way up. The throttle went up to 66%, and the elevator went up 15. Okay, now when the recovery happens, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up.
100.
So there's the recovery. Now the stabilizer is returned to where my switch is. My elevator is returned to normal, and my throttle is returned to normal. So that's the logic. That's the logic we're going to use for this little rescue mode. And very simple. So the logic's done. It's ready to rock and roll. And we're going to put it in a BIX2, and I'm going to test it out, make sure it works first. And if it does, I'm going to give it to Freddie, and we'll let Freddie fly the BIX2 around and see how he does with that. Because with the hard deck on there now, the idea is that we're not using a GPS, we're not using a flight computer. It's a fairly simple configuration on the radio, and now we have a hard deck enabled so that the student technically, as long as the altimeter responds correctly, that's the one caveat, as long as that altimeter responds correctly, we have a method now with a fairly cheap receiver, $25 receiver, and a Radiomaster TX16S that we can build a rescue system as long as you have a gyro that does auto level mode. So pretty cool, right? Let me check the comments and I will move on. If there are any questions, now's the time to ask. So let's see. I have let's see. There's a lot of questions here. Just have to watch that spring. Okay, tricycles, a little harder to land than tail dragger. Yeah, the tail draggers, obviously you don't have the problems. And if the tail dragger's set up right with the CG and the wheel axles are in front of the CG, then, you know, ground handling should be good. So yeah. Let's see. More planes. Debate says Hobie. Can I get a channel flies long range quads, 7-inch analog and digital? Yeah, man. I didn't do long range quads. I did long range desert flying though. I have a TX16S2 Max radio. Okay. You pinch or thumb. I'm a thumber. Let's see. I'm a mutt for it. As long as you have to, let's see. Robert says, as long as you have no wind going over the Vario, it should be accurate. Yeah. So it's going to be inside a BX2. And yeah, I'm hoping that it's fairly, what I'm really care for, Robert, is that it's consistent. So whatever the altitude is, I don't care if it says it's 150 feet, that's fine. As long as every single time it gets to that altitude, it reports 150. If it does, this should work. And it has to report it fast enough too. So I think it should be fine. I'm really anxious to try this. I think it's going to be cool. Can I get a channel? Says depends on what type of bird I'm flying, race quads, pinch. Okay. Let's see. Jay says, I built a tray for my TX16. Now I pinch. Will never go back. Much more accuracy. Yeah, I know. That's what I keep thinking too. I probably need to learn to pinch. Robert says it looks good. Love our radios. Radiomaster went and sent it with the TBS Crossfire module. Sorry, off now, going flying. Buy all, fly on. Okay, good. Comments. I'm looking for something to respond to, and I don't see it. 39 watching, 39 likes. It's good analytics. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for hitting the likes. That's awesome. Robert says, pretty cool. I support you regardless of my personal character. Never judge a man before you walk. Okay. Freddie's going to be on the 3D line in all in fall. I think he does, man. Freddie wants to get on that 3D line, I think. Ken says, are you considering adding a delay to the off mode so it doesn't oscillate? Yeah, exactly. Yes, Ken, I am. I want to add a delay on the sticky so that when it goes into recovery, it stays there for about 5 or 8 seconds. So yes, absolutely want to create and the other thing about avoiding oscillation is the climb and the power. So the theory is that if I let it climb for a little bit, it should get us away from the hard deck to avoid that porpoising. So yes, I absolutely going to do that. Still need to be worked out, but I know it's easy to do. I can do it with a logical switch, no problem. So yeah, definitely good call, good thinking. Let's see. Anyone else? Okay. All right. I think that's it on the Vario stuff. So that's it. That was the Vario rescue. Definitely wanted you guys to get a firsthand look at that one because PilotJam is where the cool kids hang out. You guys get a preview of what's coming. So that's on the radar. And if it works, then there will be a production video for sure on that one because I think a lot of people could benefit from something like that, especially on a plane like that little Ranger. You know, if you got a reflex V2 gyro, you could put a express LRS receiver in it with a Vario and you're all set, man. That's basically becomes like a little crash proof plane, except for landing. You know, you got to land it, but should be pretty crash proof at that point, I hope. The AS, let's see. 8Speed says, is that the AS34 on the Ranger? If that's your question to me, Jeff, the Ranger is using a reflex V2 that came from FMS with the plane. I will be using A3 Super 4 for my testing, of course. That's what I'll be using. Spin Launch Glide says, any tips on keeping 2 radios synced easily for a backup? I've wondered about using SD clone device to be able. Yeah, I don't know if you asked that question on comments or not, but for radio backups, there's 2 elements you have to consider. The first one is the SD card. You have to synchronize those. And then the second one, of course, is the radio itself. So I know that, for example, if you pair an NPM on one, that does not mean if you swap the SD card, the NPM on the other is paired as well. So there's an ID that's associated with it that travels. The difference in that would be Express LRS. Now, if you had Express LRS modules with the same binding phrase, that would work with one other exception, and that's in the Express LRS configuration where you do things like set up the radio parameters like the, I don't have the module in. Let me pop the module in. So there we go. So these parameters, those won't sync with the SD card either. These are written into the transmitter from flash on the memory on the transmitter. So those would be the only two towers you have to care for. You got the radio stuff, which is easily synchronized just by the SD card. And then the other thing that you have to care for is the radio configuration stuff. So those are the two things to think about. Let's see. SPG use companion light 2. Yes, okay. All right. All right, guys, I think we can move on from Vario Rescue. I knew that was going to be a segment. Q&A. All right, we got some Q&A. We're going to do some Q&A. We'll bring up the Blackboard, and I've got some reviewer Q&A, and the idea behind Q&A is that during the week, I get questions on the channel all over the place, and I figure when I see something that might be broadly applicable, I try and pick those out and talk about them on the PilotJam, because I figure if somebody is willing to type this out, this might be information other people need to understand as well. So let's see. Taco Joe says, how do I configure the main screen on a Zorro? The main screen, I only see the reception bars. And the answer to that is that on the black and white screen, you really only have two things that you can do. You got the telemetry screens, which you can configure in by pressing model and then page left. That brings you to telemetry setup. So you can configure those screens. And then the only other thing you can do is on the main screens, the model screens, there are four or five pre-configured, including channel outputs, and you can access those with page right and page left. That's it. There is no, you can't go into the radio layout screens on what we would call on a TX16S, the widgets. You can adjust those on a black and white. Those screens are pre-configured. So you can adjust telemetry screens with telemetry data, but that's it. Okay. So if you were wondering about that, those are your options. On the output screens, you press page right, and that'll cycle through, I think it's 4 or 5 different layouts for the main screen. And then alternatively, you can bring up telemetry, and you can configure those with telemetry values. And you're limited to nums and bars on the telemetry screens, on the black and white radios. All right. Joseph H says, John, great tips as usual. I started in 2020 with the most used beginner electronics. Oh, okay. This question is at the very bottom. He's asking about cell checkers. He says, which one do you prefer, the ISDT BG8S or the Toolkit RC MC8? They're both very good. And I would recommend, if you only had one, I'd recommend a Toolkit MC8. And the reason I say that is because the Toolkit MC8 allows you to either use it. You can use it as a servo tool, servo centering tool. So plug a battery in, plug the servo in, and you can center a servo with that. And you can also measure output. So you can see what's going on. You have the ability to measure the servo signal that's coming in, I guess. So you input and output. So anyway, I just think I love that feature on that MC8. It's a handy little tool to be able to not only cell check, but also balance and it's a servo tool. So I like it for that reason. The ISDT BG8S is very good too. It's a decent device, and it does do the cell balancing, and I do appreciate that. And I think the screen is a little bigger, like a little clearer on the ISDT, but it's fine on the MC8. It's no problem. All right, Donnie says, I have a Hobby Eagle A3 Pro. I want to use my new Hobby King Crusader. I would like to add flaperons. So the question, this is an interesting question. We've been talking on Discord quite a bit about gyros, actually. And what I would say, when it comes to gyros, the idea is that when it comes to the outputs, the gyro wants to manipulate the outputs. That's the point. So when the gyro, in whatever mode it's in, that's active, not off, in other words, not off. When it's in some mode like uncommanded movement mode or auto level mode or stabilized mode, whatever labels you want to put on it, when it's in one of those active modes, what's going on is it's inserting itself in between the radio signal and the servo. And then the gyro detects a perturbance, a movement, and it says, hey, I have to correct for this. So the idea is that if you use something like flaperons, which are controlled, let's just say for argument's sake, they're controlled with your aileron stick, and maybe you put the flaperons on a slider. So your ailerons on the aileron stick, your flaps on a slider, you bring your slider down, and it sends a signal to both ailerons to go down, right? Those are your flaperons. That's fine by the gyro because the gyro simply sees a ppm US value. It's a PWM US value. It sees a value coming from the radio. It doesn't care that it's up or down. It doesn't matter as long as it's controlling the right surface. So if the gyro needs to react, even with your flaperons down, let's say the airplane pitches or rolls to the right and the gyro says, whoops, let's roll back to the left, it's still going to move the left aileron up and the right aileron down as far as it can. So flaperons are no problem as long as they're being used correctly on the control output that the gyro is trying to intercept. Now, if you try to do something where you might maybe mixed maybe your elevator and your flaps, that might cause a problem. That might cause a problem. But no, it wouldn't. Actually, it wouldn't cause a problem. Even if you mixed elevator and flaps on your radio, it's fine. Well, let's just say flaperons on your radio because most people don't run flaps through a gyro. So if you put your flaperons and elevator on a mix, it would still be okay. Because again, the gyro is simply going to interpret that as a PWM pulse width, and it's simply going to react to whatever perturbance. So whatever pulse width it sees, it's going to make an adjustment to it. So even if you mixed your elevator and your flaps, which you can do, of course, it doesn't matter on the gyro. As long as you're using this control surface correctly, it's not a problem. Okay. So aileron and ailerons plus elevators, elevons. Yeah, be the same thing. Not a problem. All right. So go ahead, mix away. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just make sure you're using the outputs on the control correctly, and that when you turn the gyro on, whatever outputs you see, that's the correct movement. If that's correct, you're okay. You should be okay to mix however you want to mix. The one caveat I would say to that is you don't mix V-tail on most gyros. Most gyros, they want you to tell them what your mix setup is for your aileron and elevators and rudders if you have them, and let the gyro do the mixing. So for that kind of mixing, of course, follow the gyro recommendations, but for things like flaperons, knock yourself out. It's not a problem. Tobias says, this was not clickbait at all. Yeah, that was another thing. I talked a little bit about the concept of my reviews. I wanted to mention this too. I really, I wouldn't say I walk a fine line. I would say that I try and create titles that are engaging, right? Because you want people to click on the video and watch the video. If you say something silly like watch my radio video, maybe I should try it once, see how you all react. But you probably don't get as many clicks. So you try and put titles in there or make people say, I should maybe check that out. But clickbait to me is I try and make that kind of off limits. I tried it once. It's not a good thing. I don't like it. I've never liked it as a consumer. So I try and avoid it. So if I put something in the title, I'm trying to be accurate, but encouraging you to click. So that's the idea there. All right, Flyer Mikey says, it seems like when you select a new model, you double tap. Yeah, let me show you that one real quick. We're going to do the overhead camera. Let me bring this back on. I thought everyone knew this. It's a fairly new feature, but this is my hours of misspent youth playing around with these radios. If you click on the system button and then click on the gear icon and then navigate all the way down here to the bottom, there's an option here called Quick Model Select, right? That little guy right there. And just for the record, I am on 2.8.3, which is, I think, the latest. No, they're up to 2.8.4. So I'm one minor revision back. But anyway, I'm fairly current. So 2.8.3. And yeah, if you go down to the bottom, there's an option here called Quick Model Select. And what that lets you do is when you long press the model button and you get your list of models, you can just double click. You click, and that selects the model. So that's what he's referring to in that question. So if you didn't know about that, it's a cool little feature. It's called Model Quick Select. And I don't remember when they introduced it. It wasn't too long ago, but I do that all the time. So, all right, Brett Pound. Oh, he says the multi-select label thing still needs to be worked given it's new. Okay. So here's why I put this one on here. And I would encourage you guys to look at the comments on the labels hack, find Brett's comment. So Brett has a point of view about the way label and an or should work. And I actually didn't wade into the conversation at all because to me, this is kind of subjective. What I can say is that it works the way they intended it to work. There are no bugs. Brett's suggestion is that it should work a different way, and that's fine. The reason I put this one up there is because I wanted to say to Brett, thank you. And to all the other participants in this thread, thank you. The dialogue was thoughtful. Everyone communicated. They were polite. They went back and forth. We had some, disagreement, but it all worked out in the end. And that's the way I like to see things. I hope that everyone can learn, it was just nice in this day and age to see civil discourse. you know, and that's what it was. It was civil discourse. People were talking, they were expressing their point of view. There was no shaming, no arguing. It was just, you know, conversation. It was very good. I appreciated it. And at the end, I did make one little comment, and my comment was, hey, if you have an opinion about this stuff, make sure you go to the EdgeTX GitHub and open a feature request. So make sure you do that. The EdgeTX developers thrive on suggestions. They want your feedback. I can tell you, having spoken directly to the lead developers and several of the other developers, they appreciate feedback as long as it's constructive and it's in kind spirit, right? That's the idea. So feel free to, if you have an idea or thought about how it should work, to go give feedback, and you'll be surprised. They'll engage you, and if it's a good idea, they'll take a look at it, and they'll talk, and they'll kick it around, and sometimes they'll try it. You know, they'll put it in. So that's really the best way. If you'd like to see, you know, if you'd like to influence the way the radio works, EdgeTX team, like no other open source team I've ever seen, is accommodating of requests like this. So get in there and make a suggestion. That was my comment. Okay, so just wanted to stress that with all of you guys. If you have ideas, go to the GitHub, look under issues, and open a feature request, and don't be afraid to ask. They're very receptive and they appreciate your ideas. All right, I'm going to check comments before we move on, and we'll see what's going on here. Let's see. MC8 for the win, says Robert. Yeah, I like the MC8. It's pretty good. Don't forget to calibrate it. You got to calibrate that one, but it's pretty good. 4i says, I've been trying to stall fly lately. Fun stuff. Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, big old barn door flaps. That bighorn, that OMP bighorn would have probably been fun for that, because you could do the full, you know, the full house or full span controls with the flaps and ailerons. I actually did that mix. It's a violent roll rate when you do that too, buddy. Believe that. When you mix the flaps and the ailerons together, especially if they have big surfaces, that is a violent roll rate. I just keep the flaps, but that's just me. Yeah. Honestly, I don't use flaps very often. There are very few planes I use flaps on. I use them on the jets because the jets can react and they have that wing loading situation where the flaps actually are functionally helpful. But other than that, on standard 3D planes, sport planes, I just tend not to use them. There was one other plane that I did the inverse of flaps. I put spoiler-ons on the Tower Hobby Sport, because that Sport will just float down the runway if you let it. It'll sit in that air pocket, you know, 4 feet above the ground, and glide down the entire runway. So spoiler-ons are reverse. You know, they both go up, and that helps it settle into the ground. So that's a good one. Or Crow. Yeah, you can use Crow. I did Crow on the ASW28. I might take that out soon too, Robert, the ASW28. And get that out there. Hobie says, I noticed that on 2.8.2. I don't think I like the double tap. Well, that's the cool part about it. You can turn it off if you don't like it, right? That's what I love about Edge. And they try and be thoughtful about these things, so you get your choice on what you want to do. Okay, let's see. That's it for Brett's question. Again, congratulations to you guys in that thread. That's the way, man, I love that kind of civil conversation. It's so awesome to see people have a conversation and just be able to talk like human beings and not, you know, throw the gauntlet down. It's refreshing. All right, let's see. C. Brown says, more flying and less fiddling, in reference to the labels video. So yeah, that was the whole point, right? Is if you use that labels thing before you go flying, it just takes a minute to add the labels. And then when you get to the field, man, you got everything right where you can see it. I love it. I will personally be using that for good. That's going to stick with me on my radios. Definitely a cool little tool. Bill says, to tell you how busy I've been, I'm still on 2.8.0. No double tap there. I guess I need to get current. Yeah, there you go, Bill. Get current, man. All right, then we're back to question number 1. So that wraps up the Q&A for the day. Small list on the Q&A this time. All right, let's see. What is next? What is next? FMS planes. I already kind of talked about the FMS planes, but I have something else to show you. I told you guys that they must like what I'm doing because they're sending me more stuff. And I have another plane that came in, and I put this one, there it is. It's the, I'm going to try and say it right. So if you Canadians up there, you can help me and tell me if I got it. If there's anyone with a French language background, you can help me out. But I believe the proper pronunciation is, should I get a drum roll? It is the Dassault Rafale. Dassault Rafale. Dassault Rafale. I think that's the correct pronunciation. I worked on that. I try and try and do it the best way I can. I know I'm American and speak English, and, got that old American English accent, but Dassault Rafale. I believe that's the correct pronunciation for it. Anyway, FMS sent me this little guy. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to put it together out of the box, and that included gluing a couple of parts on. It's got fixed landing gear, 64 millimeter. It flies with a 4S battery balanced perfectly out of the box. It's got the Reflex V2 gyro. I put a Happy Model EPW6 ELRS PWM receiver in there running S-Bus to the Reflex V2, and it balances perfectly. Can't wait to fly it. Hopefully we'll get it out and fly it tomorrow. I need to do a video on this one though. So tomorrow's not really meant to be a video day. It was more kind of a goof around day. So I don't know. Maybe I'll take it out Sunday. Sunday is going to be a work day. We're going to do video work on Sunday. So maybe on Sunday we'll get some video of this one. But this is the Dassault Rafale. Dassault Rafale. The little 64 millimeter jet. And on top of the jet, they're also sending me a Corsair, an 800 millimeter Corsair that will be plug and play as well. So we got plenty of FMS planes on the way, and stay on the lookout on the channel. We'll try and get some good videos up, and I'll let you know what I think of these. The one thing about this particular plane, I know that this one's been around for a while. I actually did a little Google searching on this one. I see there's a lot of YouTube videos on this one, so new to me, but I think it'll be a fun plane to fly. One thing that I notice about it, and it's the same kind of concept with the F-22, is it's kind of got that delta wing layout. So I can tell you guys, after flying the free wing F-22, that thing, it looks so menacingly aggressive in the air, but it lands like a trainer. It lands like a big old floaty buttercup. You can put that thing in such a high alpha and just cruise down the runway at a very slow speed, ease off the power and touch the wheels down. It is absolutely beautiful to land that plane. So I had some fun flying the F-22 this week, and I expect this Rafale to be the same. I expect it to be the same kind of experience. It should be very floaty, very high alpha, just judging by the look of it. So let's see, checking comments here. Let's see. I'm going back to see where we are. Pick up the pace. Crossfire Nano on Speedy B F405 wing, bound fine, getting full telemetry, inputs not working. INAV, bound fine, getting full telemetry. I bet you're getting telemetry off of the receiver, but not off the board. And I bet you if you cross your RX and TX wires, it'll work. That's just what I'm saying, Jay, my guess. Jeff said I had to step out for a while. Read the Vario rescue setup. Will it work if the aircraft is descending and inverted? Yeah, that's the idea. The auto level, of course, it depends on your gyro's auto level capabilities. So I can tell you on the A3 Super 4, it intends to put the plane upright. So I know like on certain fly barless, they will level the plane, but it doesn't care if it's inverted or not. So I can tell you, it just depends on the gyro. On the A3 Super 4, I got, well, you know, in the spirit of full disclosure, Jeff, to answer your question fairly and honestly and candidly, I've never invoked auto level on an A3 Super 4 while inverted and descending. My expectation, having done it on the bench upside down and seeing a full deflection of the controls, is that I do expect it to put it upright and get it flat. So it should manipulate the roll and pitch axis so it's flat, and that's the purpose of auto level. Can I get a channel says I don't fly all day. I'm too busy building other people's dreams because my pockets aren't deep enough. I hear you, man. Welcome to YouTube. I say that all the time. I go flying. I feel like a Sherpa. I need a Sherpa to carry all my camera gear. I'm doing all this work, flying, putting stuff together and flying, doing videos and uploading it and not spending enough time with my planes. Jeff says, also will auto level mode still be in effect if you're applying up elevator from the SF? I thought it would. No, when you're in auto level, it will. No, absolutely. When you're in auto level, you can still fly the plane. So what auto level will do though is it will limit the bank. So it'll limit your pitch angle to about, 20, 25 degrees. But yes, you can absolutely still bank it. You just can't roll it over. And again, it depends on your gyro, right? But yeah, you can absolutely manipulate the outputs when you're in auto level mode. It just won't let you tip it over. That's the main thing. Let's see. Dassault Rafale. That's what I'm calling it, Robert. I hope I got it. Jay says, yeah, get on Discord. TX16S servos, rudder left okay, correct movement, rudder right, light movement, twitches, full movement. Okay, that I can't really answer that. Let's get on Discord and talk about that. Beautiful little jet. Yeah, I think so too, man. I think it's a cool little plane. I can't wait to fly it. I bet it'll be cool. And I don't know what it is with these dual cone exhaust jets, but man, I've listened to a couple videos and it sounds fantastic too. Even for a 64 millimeter, it sounds good. I can't wait to fly it. I think it'll be fun. I'll tell you guys, I was a little intimidated with the F-22, not because of the jet, but because of the color. It was solid gray. And if you have an overcast day, man, that solid gray, I was worried would be very hard to see. And I'm not going to lie, when you start getting inverted and messing around with it, it can be. because you lose certain visual aspects. Like when you put it up on a knife edge, for example, and you can't see the rudders, it can just be disorienting. So it would be better. It's because it just turns black. So I am a little concerned about that with the gray planes, but I think those tiger stripes will help on this plane. And I can tell you on a sunny day that F-22 will be no problem. I was able to fly it fine on an overcast day. And so on a sunny day, I think the F-22 will be no problem. But these gray planes, keep that in mind in your purchasing decisions because they do go dark, man. Gray absorbs light. I mean, think about it like this. Camouflage paint schemes are meant to camouflage military aircraft from visible sighting, right? That's the point. So if they're doing their job, it's going to be hard to see. That's the point. So keep that in mind when you make your buying decisions. Just keep that in mind. Jay was thinking that too as a possibility. So yeah, Jay, I almost assured if everything works, you got a bind and you see telemetry, the telemetry is probably coming off the receiver, not the controller. So you see telemetry and you think you're good, but if you swap your RX and TX, you'll probably be okay. I almost guarantee you that's the problem. Robert says, Age Mutant Ninja Turtle Raphael. Raphael is what YouTube told me. You're saying Raphael, like the Italian. I thought this was French. Is it Raphael or Raphael? Let's have a vote. All right, like angle mode. Yes, angle mode. Yes, that's right. Angle mode limits your bank. Jeff H says, but auto level won't work if the spec function has elevator applied. No, it will work. Keep in mind that it goes into auto level first and then it applies the mix and the mix climbs. I'll have to try it. I don't anticipate a problem, Jeff. I think it'll be fine. I don't think the gyro really cares where your elevator is when you apply it, because they can't say, well, while you're flying, if you're inverted and completely screwed up and holding down elevator and then you hit auto level mode, we'll go ahead and return your sticks to neutral first and then we'll auto level. I don't think that's the way it works. I think the idea is that no matter what you do, when you put it in that auto level mode, it's coming around. And then from there, it'll take whatever it considers to be center plus your stick movement to give you stabilization. But you know what? At the end of the day, go try it. I'm going to try it. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm not concerned. It'll be fine. Okay, that's it on the FMS planes. The Raphael, that's coming up next. And the Corsair 800 is on the way. And they did ask for a release date on those, so I can't release them ahead of their release date. So you'll have to be patient for the video on these. It's going to be after their release date. So I can't do it ahead of time to give me dates for these two. But I'll be flying them, and I'll be shooting the videos, and I'll be able to talk to you on Discord about how it went. So there you go. FMS planes, that's it. All right, the giveaway. Got a giveaway to do. Oh, let's see. Wooder says it's pronounced Raphael. Raphael as in time. Rafal. Oh, Rafal. Ah, Rafal. I haven't heard Rafal before. Google told me Raphael, and they use the phonetic F-A-Y-L, Raphael, and you're saying Rafal, and we have Raphael. See, this is what I mean. There's always disagreement. Have a vote. How do you guys want to hear it pronounced? Let's see. Kawabunga. This is Jay, the turtles. Can I get a channel? I can't get my nose high enough up in the air to pronounce it correctly. Hey, man, that's a nice Jack. Come on. French got to have their heroes, too. He'll have to take the marbles out of his mouth to say solder. Solder, as they say in the Empire, right? All right, we have a giveaway. Let's do a giveaway. So this giveaway is for the FMS Flash. And the FMS Flash, remember what I told you? It's been maiden. It's skidded down the runway. It's got a little black on the bottom, and it landed in the grass once, and so it's got a little grass on it. But it's fine. The airplane's fine. It's a good little plane. It will not have a receiver. You have to do your own receiver on this one. Wait a minute. Yeah, no, this one is a plug and play. So yeah, no receiver. You have to do your own receiver. But it will have the gyro. It'll have the motor, the ESC, the wings, everything included. I'll even try and stuff it back in the little box it came from, and we'll get it shipped out. So we're going to do the giveaway. I'm going to cover, let's see, Jeff says, but you can still fly the plane in auto level mode, as you said. So I'm suggesting the special function will override auto level just the same. Yeah, but the only thing Jeff, listen, when you're in auto level mode, it's bank limited. It won't go down past 20. It won't go up past 20. So when I apply elevator, even if I gave it full up elevator, it will go up to 20 degrees and that's it. It'll climb. Okay. That's the point. That's what auto level does. It levels the plane and allows you to control pitch and roll, but only to 20 degrees. So it should fly in straight up and down. You apply a little elevator, that will institute a climb. Listen, just wait for the video or go try it, man. I'm telling you, it'll work. I've done so much with gyros. I know it will work. My only concern, my concern isn't the gyro. My concern is the Vario. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the giveaway now. So here we go with the giveaway. We're going to put the Q&A stuff away, and that's gone. And let's see the giveaway group. I'm going to put the rules up real quick so you guys see the rules. The rules are here. You have the winner, only the winner. If you didn't win, you don't have to do this, right? If you win, you do this. And it's a thing. Believe it or not, it's a thing. I have people on these videos, they send me a copy of their driver's license. I don't know why. If you don't win, you don't have to do this. So the rules are simple. You email a government issued ID showing that you're older than 18 years old by 6/3 at 2100, which is tomorrow. You get 24 hours from now. Your email also needs to include the mailing address. If you don't give me a mailing address, I don't know where to ship it. So you have to give me a mailing address. That email will be sent to john@rcvideoreviews.com. Do not talk to me on Telegram. I will not be on Telegram answering questions or talking to you about the prize. If you don't send me the email, you don't get a prize. I will select an alternate winner. Okay, so those are the rules. So remember, this is for the FMS Flash. There is no shipping charge either. That's another thing the scammers do is they say, you just pay the shipping and we'll get it sent out. I don't do shipping charges. I will send it to you, okay? So no shipping. Just remember, this is the official announcement. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a little drum roll. I'm going to put this away. We'll put that away. We're going to do a little drum roll, and then we'll announce the winner for the FMS Flash. And the winner is Jay. Jay and David had a little bit of a tussle, man. They went after it. They were in there leaving comments like crazy. Jay, I don't know how many comments Jay left, but he left a lot. And it paid off. He won. So Jay, congratulations. You got yourself a little FMS Flash. You know what to do. Send me the email. Show me that you're over 18. If you're not over 18, send one from your mom. Get your mom and dad to do it. And I'll take care of you. I'll get it sent out as soon as I can. It'll be sometime next week, but I will get it sent out just as soon as I can. So congratulations, Jay, on your FMS Flash. Have fun with it. Let's see. Does rule number 1 apply to Robert? He's Canadian. Yeah, if I know you or if I've already dealt with you in the past, I don't worry about the license. I just need an address. But, you know, to be fair, I should just keep the rule the same for everybody, and that way there's no exceptions. So congratulations, Jay. Get yourself a little FMS Flash. It shouldn't be a problem. All right, let's see. That is it on the content, and now we can talk a little bit about what's coming up. So Jay says, oh my God, awesome. Yeah, way to go, man. You hit it. He put a lot of comments. Jay put a lot of comments in there, man. Jay went after it. All right, so coming up, I still owe you guys a flight or two on the F-22. All I can say on the F-22 is I've got about 4 flights on it now, and it's flying great. The downside to that F-22 Ultra with the 12S, no, it's the 8S 12 blade setup, is that I get about 3 to 3.5 minutes, and that's not really flying at all that hard. So I would just caution you on that one. If you get that high speed setup on the F-22, it's not going to fly very long. It's back to the old school, you know, kind of EDF model. The Avanti, on the other hand, I consistently get 7 minutes of flying on that one, consistently. So, yeah. Anyway, I do like it. It looks ridiculously cool in the air, and it lands like a cupcake, and it flies great. So the F-22 is really good. Expect to see a video on that soon. You can expect to see a video on the BIX2 soon with the Vario rescue that we spent so much time talking about. That will be coming up soon. The Rafale or Rafale, depending on where the accent is, that will be coming up. But remember what I told you, that one has a published timeline, so I can't do it until then. And I also have to tell you guys that Radio Master sent me a box full of stuff. I can't tell you what it is yet because they have rules on their dissemination date as well. But all I can tell you is, wait, hold on. Let's do this one. All I can tell you is 2 thumbs up. That's all I can tell you. 2 thumbs up. But Radio Master sent me a nice, beautiful box of things, and I'll be doing videos on those as well. Can't wait. It's very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting stuff. So that'll be coming up as soon as the Radio Master release date hits. And also, Freddie, we'll probably get a little more time with Freddie on the trainer, just to see how he's doing. I know you guys are interested to see how he's progressing, and he's already progressing well in the sim. So we'll try and get some more video of Freddie on the trainer for you as well. So as usual, plenty of material coming up. Plenty of material coming up. Flight videos, bent videos, configuration videos, radio videos, jet videos, first looks, all of it. You know, we're going to have plenty of material coming up on the channel. So keep an eye out and keep watching and keep hitting that thumbs up and leave comments after the videos are over. I appreciate it. That all helps the channel grow. I'll remind you guys before we take off, I've got the merch store up and running. So if you want a t-shirt or a mug or a phone case or whatever, check out my merch store. Don't forget about patreon.com/RC Video Reviews if you want to get a, you know, help the channel out, you know, help me bring material to the channel. And, of course, you know, watching the videos, sharing the videos, subscribing, that all helps too. If you don't want to spend any money, but you want to help the channel in other ways, sharing my videos out, commenting, leaving a thumbs up, that all helps. So I appreciate you guys for getting engaged there. All right, let's see. I'm all in. Yep, Freddie was good. New Zorro, not a new Zorro. Nice, colorful. Can't say. I can't give any tips out, guys. It's all I can tell you is very cool stuff. I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it. All right, that wraps up the PilotJam for 6.2. Don't forget, I'm planning on getting on Discord tonight and trying to get Freddie to fly with us for a little while because he's got a simulator now, and it's been fun flying with him. So I'm probably going to get on Discord for a little bit. Got to clean up the workspace a little, and we'll get on Discord, fly for a little bit on the simulator. If you guys want to hang out there, that's where we'll be. So I hope you have a fantastic Friday night. I hope you get out and fly over the weekend. That's all I've got for today. Get out there and fly something.